Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
Beach FM, and it's so good to welcome back Ralph McAlister. Good morning to you, Ralph.
And the same to you, sir, and I hope you've recovered from the rather hectic weekend we've all had with elections and rugby playing and other terrible nonsense from America. But we're still here, aren't we?
We are, and I think that we're quite buoyant after what's happened over the weekend, and quite proud of the country. I just made the observation to a friend of mine that I've got a feeling that, you know, the old Fred Dagg song, We Don't Know How Lucky We Are? I've got a feeling that we do know how lucky we are, because we're so connected these days, and we can compare what we've got in this country to what we have overseas, particularly the countries that we like to compare ourselves to, the US, the UK and Australia, and realise that actually things are pretty good here. So I've got a feeling that was part of what happened on Saturday night as well.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. And of course, anybody who starts complaining, like some of my friends who've just come back about the nanny state or whatever, I just shut them up completely. I say, what, do you want to go back to China or London or, you know? And,
that's right.
And they have no, we are so lucky, and you're absolutely right. And we must keep saying that to one another, you know, that we are blessed. And I don't use that word very often, not being as religious as some of my friends, but it seems to me appropriate for what we're going through at the moment. We are blessed as a country.
And we're blessed to still have our eyes and be able to read. What has been occupying your eyes recently?
Well, let me just say the book I'm going to mention will be mentioned en passant, because it turned out to be not as good as I was told it was. And anyway, I'll get to that. But before that, I wanted to sort of draw attention to your listeners, too, the listener, really, because it's re-emerged. It started again. It's had 3 issues in the last month. And I just kept thinking, I feel as if I've come home again, because I've been reading, as most of us have, or certain age people, for the last 50 years, and to have it back on the shelves. And I knew nothing about it being coming back, because they didn't announce it until the first edition went on sale. So I'm just so thrilled in terms of it's back, and believe it or not, John, I think it might be better than it's been in the last few years, and it's been great. But there's a new look, a new drive, there's all the old things are there, all the crosswords and the Sudokus and things that I spend more time on than I should when I should be reading the latest book. They're all back, and I'm just so thrilled, and I'm just mentioning it to your listeners because, for goodness sake, don't let it happen again. Don't let us have it slipping away from us, because it is the one hugely important magazine that we have in New Zealand. You know, they've got the New Yorker in America, they've got London Review of Books in London, you know, but we've got the Listener, and it's got such a wide range and quality range. I just thought I must say that to you before I start being a bit sepulchral and sad about Real Life by Brendon Taylor, nominated for the Booker this year.
Wow.
It's a campus novel, it's a coming-of-age novel, and it's told about Wallace, who's a biochemist. He's trying to complete his degree. He's at university. So it's a university novel with all his mates who's spending time, if they're not in the laboratory doing microscopic worms and things, he's at the lake, or he's with his mates or friends. Trouble with Wallace is 2 problems for him as he sees them. A, he's black, and he's in a mostly white community. This is modern day, by the way. It's not back in 1960s. So he's got that seeming uncertainty and difficulty about living in now in the Midwest. But he's also gay, but he's also closet gay. So he's got these friends who look after him and who he has really interesting relationships with. But, oh gosh, the plot, it starts to pall about halfway through, because Wallace is so uncertain of himself that it's terribly difficult to keep feeling sorry for him as he lurches from one, not so much affair, but lurches from a relationship of uncertainty to the next. And his manner, his self sort of importance is, it just becomes a bit tedious. And I rang my friend in Waiheke who told me about the book. And I said, I don't know what you're on about. And he said, well, Ralph, I'm sorry I was raving about it when I was only halfway through it.
Oh.
And now I don't like it. I said, well, if you could have rung me, I wouldn't be talking to John on my radio. So I blame Murray, and he shall hear this perhaps, and he'll have to apologise. He's such an omnivorous reader that we compare notes all the time. But I think you'd be interested, if you're interested in coming out novels with not very much to recommend them, except that it's a young black American in trouble, and I can think of so many other books from another country, James Baldwin onwards, 60, 50 years ago, that have done a better job than this young man, and I don't wish him any ill feeling. It's got some beautiful descriptive passages about the countryside in the Midwest, but finally I just struggled to finish it over 324 pages, and it's not going to be in my book of the year list.
Right. Okay, so that's real life. But we can celebrate the return of the listener. We need every listener we can get, I can assure you. Ralph McAlister, it's been a delight. Thank you so much for your company.
106.3 Beach FM.